All right, today we are diving into an ancient legal case that honestly plays out just like a classic detective story. We've got a missing item, a super cryptic clue, and an investigator who has to sift through all the evidence to find that one single truth that connects everything.
So let me put it this way. Imagine you buy your friend a brand new, top-of-the-line smartphone. But this isn't just the phone. It comes with this mandatory accessory pack. A special case, custom headphones, the whole shebang. Now, what if you lose the phone before you can even give it to them? Do you have to buy that whole accessory pack all over again when you get the replacement? That is the exact kind of puzzle we're digging into today. Although, as you're about to see, the stakes are a little more, well, ancient.
At the heart of our case is an ancient ritual called the thanks offering, or korban todah. It's basically an animal sacrifice someone would bring to show they're grateful. But here's the crucial detail, the part you have to remember. It's not just about the animal. The thanks offering has its own mandatory accessory pack, a whopping 40 special loaves of bread that have to come with it. No bread, no offering. The animal and the loaves, they're a total package deal. So before we get to the real mystery, we need to lay down the law of the land, Establish the basic facts. What does the foundational text say about this package deal when things start to get a little complicated? The Mishna, which is a core text of Jewish law, seems to lay it all out pretty simply. It says the original animal you pick for your thanks offering, that one needs the bread. But if that animal has a baby, the offspring, or if you lose it and have to designate a replacement, those secondary animals do not require the 40 loaves. Case closed, right? Seems simple enough. The main gift needs the accessories. The backup doesn't. But just when we think we've got a clear, simple rule, a new piece of evidence shows up. And it's a message from a brilliant sage that basically throws a wrench into our simple understanding and turns this straightforward rule into a genuine mystery. This message comes from a sage named Rabbi Yochanan, and he essentially says, hey, that simple rule we all thought we knew, it's not so simple. He introduces this new condition that makes everything way more complex. He says the rule all depends on when the secondary animal gets offered. And here is the cryptic clue itself. Rabbi Yochanan says the rule completely flips based on whether the owner has achieved atonement. In other words, whether their original obligation has actually been fulfilled yet. So if a secondary animal is offered before that obligation is fulfilled, it requires the bread. But if it's offered after the obligation is fulfilled, it does not. This seems to totally contradict the simple rule we just read, which of course raises a huge question. When would this before and after rule even apply? And this is the central question of our entire case. The simple rule says, secondary animals never need loaves. The new clue says, well, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. How can both possibly be true? This is the exact puzzle that a Talmudic investigator, Rav Amram, sets out to solve. He's got to find the one specific scenario where this before versus after distinction is the key that unlocks the whole thing. So Rav Amram does what any good detective would do. He lines up all the possible scenarios, all the suspects, and he just starts a process of elimination to see which one fits Rabbi Yochanan's strange and confusing clue. Okay, first up in the lineup, we've got the most obvious case. Let's say someone has an obligation to bring a thanks offering. They designate an animal, it gets lost, and so they designate a replacement. Could this be the case Rabbi Yochanan was talking about? Rav Amram dismisses this suspect almost right away. Why? Because other texts have already covered this exact situation. We already know that if the first animal is found, you can bring whichever one you want with loaves. So Rabbi Yochanan's clue, it doesn't add anything new here. This isn't our case. On to the next suspect. All right, what if the offering wasn't required at all, but was just a voluntary gift? Somebody just decides to bring a thanks offering, loses the animal, and brings a replacement. Could this be where the before and after rule finally comes into play? Nope, this one's out too. Think about it. If the first offering was just voluntary, then the replacement is just, well, another voluntary gift. And every single voluntary thanks offering needs its own 40 loaves. The before or after timing doesn't change a thing. It would always need bread, which makes Rabbi Yochanan's distinction totally irrelevant here. 2 suspects down. Okay then, what about the offspring? Let's take the case of a voluntary offering that has a baby. Maybe this is the scenario our investigator has been looking for. And this one is also dismissed. Turns out the offspring of a voluntary gift is considered leftover sacred property. It gets brought as a totally different type of offering, one that never requires the special bread. So once again, the before or after distinction is meaningless. Rav Amram has now eliminated 3 of the 4 main possibilities. So after a really thorough investigation, and after eliminating all the scenarios that just don't fit, our detective is left with only one possibility. This has to be the answer. This is the moment the case is cracked wide open. The only suspect left standing is the offspring of an obligatory thanks offering. By a simple process of elimination, this has to be the specific, very narrow case that Rabbi Yochanan was talking about. But why? How does the before versus after clue fit this one scenario so perfectly? And here it is. This is where it all clicks into place. If somebody has an obligation and the parent animal is lost before they can fulfill it, that's before atonement, then the offspring can step in and take its place. And because it's now fulfilling that original obligation, it needs the loaves. But if the parent animal was already offered after atonement, then the obligation is met. The offspring is now just extra, and as the original simple rule stated, it does not need the loaves. This is the one and only case where the before or after status changes absolutely everything. Case closed. So the puzzle's solved, but this was never just some intellectual exercise about a weird loophole in the law. Cracking this case actually reveals a much deeper principle at the very heart of this entire legal system. This whole detective story was really just a vehicle. The sages were using this incredibly specific, kind of strange puzzle to teach something fundamental about how sacred obligations work. The mystery of the missing loaves was the key to unlocking a much, much bigger idea. And here is that principle: atonement with enhancement. What Rabbi Yochanan was teaching through his cryptic little clue is that a person can fulfill their core religious obligation not just with the original item they set aside, but with its enhancement, something that grew from it, like an offspring. The offspring isn't just some leftover. It can actually become the main thing. And that is a powerful and really surprising legal idea, all hidden inside a question about bread. And that's what makes this whole thing so brilliant. It shows us that sometimes the key to understanding a huge, complex system isn't found in its main obvious rules, but in its strangest little exceptions. By solving the case of the missing loaves, the ancient investigators didn't just clarify a minor point of law. They actually revealed the very logic that makes the whole system tick.